And what governments and countries are facing is, how do we regulate this? How do we protect the end users from the forces that be that try to take advantage of, the average day person? Hello, everyone. Today, I'm going to be continuing my Palantir due diligence videos. Today's topic is Foundry for crypto. It's a huge market opportunity. It's a $2 trillion industry, and it keeps changing every day with more offerings that do come into this blockchain universe. So I do want to dive into it. I want to give props to Last First, who chatted with me on my Lilium video. We did have a little back and forth where he told me that, I should cover this topic. It could be super interesting because a lot of people are sleeping on it. So I decided to, take his advice and do some research and get right into it. First things first, I think it's super important to just hear directly from Palantir and its Chief Operating Officer, Shyam Sankar, on the last Q3 earnings call. He does share some thoughts about what he thinks about crypto, how the company's investing in crypto, and where the opportunities lie ahead. So let's listen to that earnings call, and then we'll start getting into what I've been able to uncover through my research. Here we go.
We are super excited about Foundry for crypto. We see a unique fit with fast-growing crypto companies that need industrialized compliance solutions. These are highly technical buyers, and they're highly motivated disruptors. We are leveraging our deep anti-money laundering and know your customer expertise that we developed over years, helping governments find compliance issues with the world's largest banks and helping those banks in turn respond and harden their compliance programs. Some of the largest AML investigations in the world were powered by Palantir, both on the Department of Justice side and at the banks themselves. We think we're going to be a massive accelerant for crypto companies. We're going to give them credible AML platforms to enable them to go toe-to-toe and beyond with the legacy players. We're going to deliver compliance so they can focus on disruption. And of course, they are welcome to pay us in crypto. So
obviously, Palantir Foundry has been heavily used in the banking and financial services industry. And, this all stemmed from back in the days of PayPal, which got carried over into Palantir and then became a software solution for a bunch of banking firms across the world. And now the spirit of that software offering in Foundry for banking companies can be extended to crypto, because crypto is still relatively new. The blockchain is relatively new, and adoption is increasing. And what governments and countries are facing is, how do we regulate this? How do we protect the end users from the forces that be that try to take advantage of, the average day person? So there is a huge opportunity here, and it is something that I think is worth exploring. Palantir in their second, Foundry for Builders startup PR, they mentioned that they are working with Elementus, a New York-based blockchain analytics platform. Now, if we go into Elementus's page, you see that their whole purpose is to really create a foundation to enable new ways of working with all of the world's blockchains, because there's like a Bitcoin blockchain, there's an Ethereum blockchain, and there's products and services that revolve around these blockchains. I think Bitcoin's blockchain is just to support the Bitcoin currency, but Ethereum does a lot more. With that being said, if we take a look at the products, the compliance, what they're offering, you see here, they have a compliance solution for governments. So supporting a responsible and collaborative blockchain ecosystem for financial institutions, regulators, exchanges, ICOs, initial coin offerings. I think that's what it stands for, funds. And obviously data analytics, which is going to be useful for all parties enforcing compliance. So empowering innovative teams with unique blockchain intelligence, financial institutions, investors, government agencies, data providers, and research. One of the biggest concerns around cryptocurrencies, and I've taken note of them for myself in this video, is regulation, right? Because there's a lot that governments stand to gain. Cryptocurrency, if you think about it from the US point of view, The US investors or the buyers of these cryptocurrencies, they're generating a lot of capital gains, and it's completely anonymous. It's hard for the government to associate a crypto wallet or a public, wallet address, or, the unique identifier that people have, to an IP or to a John Doe. So governments really don't know who has what and how much do they have, how much gains do they have, as far as I know. So now there's a huge need for regulation here, especially, why would the American government want to shut something down when they can make lots of money off of it? If Mr. X buys 1,000 coins of whatever, and that suddenly goes up 10 times or 20 times, well, Mr. X has a liability now, a tax liability that he should pay the government. So, and that price increase is because the whole world is buying into that coin. So technically, out of thin air, the American government just got taxable revenues or taxable capital gain. So why would they want to shut this down? It's easy money for them. The question is, how are they going to make sure that they have a complete listing of who's doing what and who owes what to the government? Because technically, it's anonymous, and unless you screw up and you make your identity public to a certain address, then no one's going to know. I want to quickly go through the benefits of cryptocurrency and the blockchain, and I do think they are real benefits that could make the world a better place. The idea of decentralization, so not having central governments deciding how they can play or how they can control the supply of money, which can impact the way people live. So the fact that it's decentralized means that everybody is equally accountable to how this cryptocurrency is valued. Then there's the equality for people to participate. Not everyone has a chance to open up a bank account. People who went through bankruptcy, people who live in poorer countries, people who don't have a bank in their village or their small town, now they can participate in banking or participate in money exchange or bartering through blockchain. And like I touched on before, there's a major tax opportunity, and it's a public ledger. There's a paper trail for everything that can be traced. So yes, although you can remain private and anonymous, it's kind of like I saw a really good explanation. Your anonymity is really like a pseudonym. So when you're writing books, you can write under a specific author name where people won't know your real name. But the day people are able to associate your pseudonym to your real name, then all your books that you wrote are associated to you. So that's it's a little slippery slope. So you have to be careful because, these days people can't help but snitch themselves out for anything. So that's something you have to look out for. But the real risks, and I think this is real risks, and a lot of people can deny it. You can't deny the will of the people, but governments are ready to go to war to protect their currency and to protect their own interests. So when we see regulation issues like sanctions being applied against officials of a certain country, and their bank accounts are now frozen in such and such state around the world, when the US says we're putting sanctions on Iranian VIPs, then all banks dealing with America or the US have to respect those sanctions. But now if we have a blockchain or a cryptocurrency exchange where people can transact anonymously, it could very well be that these VIPs are easily moving money around, and the sanctions are no longer applicable. So that is a concern for leaders and politicians around the world. And another thing is obviously tax compliance. How does the government know what you're reporting is complete and not missing any information? How do they know they're getting what you're supposed to be declaring? The other side of things is the environmentalism. The world is becoming more and more concerned with climate change. And this is crazy, but it's been said that the computers around the world that are busy mining for Bitcoin or Ethereum, the amount of electricity and heat that they generate and consume, it could exceed the total electricity consumption of countries like Argentina or Denmark. So that is a big, big stain on this blockchain or this cryptocurrency universe. I know Ethereum is pivoting towards finding a more environmentally friendly solution, but this is this is a big concern. And as the newer generation gets older and older and they elect politicians, they might just shut this whole thing down, and they won't care for crypto exchanges or cryptocurrency, and they'll just say it's not good for the environment. Forget about it. These are little things that I see as a risk, and obviously, like I touched on before, money laundering, terrorist financing, ransomware, scams, pumps and dumps from new coins and the developers of new coins. These are all issues that hurt the consumer. So obviously you need regulation, and to have regulation, you need to have monitoring and compliance enforcement. And what better way than to have Palantir, which has been doing that for the banking industry all over the world. And as Shams stated, for a major European bank, they were able to get that going in 2 days. I really think this is a big, big opportunity. The cryptocurrency world is worth north of $2 trillion, excuse me. So all of these exchanges that have their hands in facilitating transactions, the banks to the exchanges, to the names of the users getting transactions, I really think governments are going to be combining all these various pools of data to de-anonymize these transactions, to identify the money launderers, the drug dealers, the scam artists. And it has happened before. The founder of Silk Road was caught because he used his pseudonym for another transaction later on down the line, and the FBI was able to identify, oh, this pseudonym is the same pseudonym that we saw in Silk Road, and they booked him. So people screw up all the time, but data is the key thing that puts all the puzzles of the pieces together. So I really think Palantir does have a lot to offer here, especially given their history of working with the US governments on all kinds of compliance, monitoring, and surveillance solutions. All right, so now let us look at an article of Elementus with Palantir to see what's going on. So on October 28, 2021, Palantir linked Elementus raised $12 million for crypto intelligence platform. The funds will help advance an institutional grade data intelligence platform. Elementus, a blockchain data analytics firm with ties to Palantir, has raised $12 million in a Series A round, the startup told Coindesk. The funds will help advance the company's institutional grade intelligence platform. The round was led by Velvet Sea Ventures with participation from Almeida Research, BlockFi, Pomp Investments, Lightspeed, Canadian-based, Gemini Frontier Fund, Blockchain.com, and Avon Ventures. So a lot of big tech firms involved in here. Elementus offers blockchain compliance and data analytics solutions. They're using Palantir Foundry for builders, aimed at government agencies, financial institutions, researchers, investors. The crypto forensic solution can be used for market intelligence, security vulnerability detection, and the identification of bad actors. I think as long as the tax, I feel bad saying this, but as long as the tax revenue potential is there for the American government and Western allies, I don't think they're going to shut down cryptocurrency as long as this is solid. As long as they can identify bad actors and enforce, international sanctions, they're not going to care if people are buying and selling cryptocurrency or using their money to buy NFTs. I don't think the government will care at all. What we have accomplished and plan to do with the funds announced today is provide an institutional grade platform that offers the search and speed and scope of Google and the data insight of the Palantir platform. Trust me, this is no easy task, but we're doing it. Elementus CEO Max Gelka wrote in an email to investors that was shown to Coindesk. The startup has deep ties to Palantir, the publicly traded software company that specializes in data analytics. Elementus president Greg Barbaccia worked at Palantir for a decade, most recently as head of investigations. And the chief strategy officer, Chitra Raghavan, was once a senior advisor to Palantir CEO Alex Karp. So I am not going to be surprised if Palantir is involved in that funding, or if Palantir will be involved in future funding with Elementus. Earlier this month, Palantir added Elementus to its Foundry for Builders program, which provides startups with access to the flagship Foundry data intelligence software. In his email to investors, Galka wrote that access to Foundry will turbocharge our analytics products. Boom. So obviously, the value of Palantir Foundry is immense. Everybody sees it. It is undeniable. If we watch Palantir's Crypto for Foundry video, or Foundry for Crypto, it's just a bunch of quick slides, quick flashes. There's not a lot of meat in there, but I'll play it for you in case you've never seen it before. So let's check it out. There you go. It was pretty much nothing. Like, I did not learn anything new from that video, except, you know, their editor has good taste in music. Now, I did find some interesting articles that we can read together. This one was from the Harvard Gazette. It's called "The Regulators Put Cryptocurrency in Crosshairs." This is obviously, I'm not even sure if this is Scott, but this article covers a Q&A with Scott Duke Commoners, who is a very accomplished individual and who has skin in cryptocurrency. So this is a Q&A with this professor and the specialist in cryptocurrencies. So let's go through the questions and see if there's anything interesting here. There are thousands of different cryptocurrencies, but no consensus on the precise number. The range is between 5,000 and 12,000, valued at 2 trillion. What does the landscape look like today? Those numbers sound huge, but there are actually many, many more than that, because lots of crypto products are not currencies, and lots of cryptocurrencies are too small to be part of mainstream exchanges. There are NFTs, which are unique, non-fungible tokens that have been used as representing ownership over things like digital artworks. Tons of these are being minted daily at this point, so it's a very large landscape. The pure currency aspect of it, it's a huge market on its own, but a drop in the bucket of the total application of crypto and blockchain technology today. What's the appeal for investors? Is it just eye-popping returns? Is there more to it? So while some people are interested in this for the short or medium long-term investment opportunity, I think a lot of the investment we've seen flow in on the institutional side and venture side is because these are real, valuable technologies that are being built on crypto backbones that can do things we can never do before in markets. The SEC chairman called this asset class rife with fraud, scams, and abuse. Is this industry operating in a rule-free Wild West atmosphere, as you suggested? It's clear that the space needs much more consumer protection, and we're starting to see that. Right now, if a hacker gains access to your crypto wallet, they can drain it and you have no recourse. But the new waves of wallet technologies and crypto exchanges are thinking hard about all those things. Besides fending off regulations, what are the industry's other challenges? One basic challenge is around taxation of crypto income. Another challenge is environmental. A lot of the most popular crypto technologies at the moment require tremendous amounts of energy to run. And so we're going to start seeing government leadership and regulation driving a shift towards versions of this technology that are more environmentally sustainable. Right, so I did go over a few paragraphs in this article. It is a very interesting article. I'll share it in the video description so you can take time to read it on your own. It does highlight the challenges of blockchain and cryptocurrency and the ecosystem in of itself. This is another article that I thought was relevant. It's from the Columbia Climate School based in New York City, in Columbia University, New York City. And the takeaway is Bitcoin's impact on climate and the environment. It was written in September 20th, 2021. So here is the most important part: Bitcoin's environmental impacts, energy consumption, and greenhouse emissions. While it's impossible to know exactly how much electricity Bitcoin uses because of different computers and cooling systems, the University of Cambridge analysis estimated that Bitcoin mining consumes 121 terawatt hours a year. This is more than all of Argentina consumes, or more than the consumption of Google, Apple, Facebook, and Microsoft combined.
How dare you!
In 2020, China controlled over 65% of the global processing power that runs the Bitcoin network. Recently, however, China cracked down on mining out of concerns about cryptocurrencies' financial risks and enormous energy consumption that works against China's goal to be carbon neutral by 2060. Globally, Bitcoin's power consumption has dire implications for climate change and in achieving the goals of the Paris Accord, because it translates into an estimated 22 to 22.9 million metric tons of CO2 emissions per year, equivalent of the CO2 emissions from the use of 2.6 to 2.7 billion homes. One study warned that Bitcoin could push global warming beyond 2 degrees. So there's a huge environmental impact here that people are starting to realize, and the louder these cries get, the more challenging it will be for this blockchain universe to survive unless it adapts. All in all, there's clearly a opportunity here for Palantir to survive and thrive in the blockchain, cryptocurrency, NFT universe. Foundry for crypto is a extension of Foundry that's used in the banking and financial services sector today. If Foundry can prove to regulators that they can support compliance to new regulations, then I can see governors or states or countries warming up to blockchain and not looking at it as what the SEC chairman said, scam, fraud, and abuse. So I think the Foundry opportunity here for crypto is massive. The crypto and blockchain universe is worth trillions of dollars, and Foundry does have a huge role to play here with their experience in the banking and financial services industry, where they've already been enforcing compliance to various banking rules and regulations. I think Foundry can be an excellent partner to countries, to states, to enforce regulation, to enforce compliance in the crypto world, to help detect, monitor malicious and illicit activities, to stop money laundering, to stop pumps and dumps, to stop scams, to catch those doing ransomware. Foundry can really offer a lot here, and I think if regulators can see that and are convinced with Foundry that it's possible, given their track record of doing that with PayPal and with the banking industry, I think the cryptocurrency world and blockchain is going to be here to stay, provided they do some adaptations, for the environmental concerns. This is going to be a huge market opportunity for Palantir, while the rest of the world essentially sleeps on it. So that's it for me. Thank you so much for watching my video. If you like what you see, definitely hit the subscribe button and leave a comment and hit the like. I love seeing your comments. It means a lot to me, and your support means a lot to me. So thank you. I'll see you in the next one.